Pelosi versus MNUCHIN, the video that you're shocked to hear today, in which you learn that these people haven't really done much of nothing since July. They have not worked, they have not written, they have not changed, and they've done fake deadlines. And all they're doing today is a fake blame game. So was there ever a Pelosi versus MNUCHIN, or was there a faux work effort going on between July and this afternoon? We'll find out in this recording of Pelosi versus MNUCHIN. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. This is a bombshell bombshell recording about Pelosi versus MNUCHIN, in which a day in which we are told a lot of narratives, and their narratives continue, but I'm not going to run them. I'm just not going to run their narratives anymore because they're untrue. Rather, what I'm going to deal for the first time on this channel is giving you really what's going on and not dealing with their narratives, which are not accurate. Go to Friend's channel, subscribe. Subscribe because no one cuts through the crap like I do and gives you the truth of what's really happening with these people, and like this video. The truth of the situation we sit here today is that Stephen Mnuchin and Nancy Pelosi claim to have been working since the month of July. And while they did chat 1 hour a day, Monday through Friday, which they're actually paid to actually do, by the way, that has been the full extent of what they have done. There's new data and new reports today and yesterday says all their indications of what they were doing since July have actually been inaccurate. Inaccurate. Let's go over the inaccuracies right now. This is the breaking news. First, Steve Mnuchin's claims that there was progress between the parties is inaccurate. Nancy Pelosi's claims that there's progress between the parties, reportedly inaccurate. First, we thought that FPUC was agreed upon. Neither of the sides had talked about FPUC for weeks. We presumed when they cited the items that they were not agreeing upon and did not mention FPUC, that FPUC was agreed upon. Hey, if you make a list of things that are not agreed upon and we don't see something in that list, then it must be agreed upon. Untrue. Reports today say that there's absolutely zero progress on FPUC since the month of July, that Steve Mnuchin is still at $400 a week, and that Nancy Pelosi is still $600 a week. This is after Steve Mnuchin started no less than 4 weeks ago saying, hey, you know what, I support the Problem Solvers bill. And now we realize, no, maybe he just supported the title, but didn't support the provisions in it. The Problem Solvers bill was $450 a week for 8 weeks, and 5 weeks is $600 with a complex calculation associated with that. Well, guess what? He has never gone to the Problem Solvers amount. He's been lower than the Problem Solvers amount. Nancy Pelosi, she started with $600 in May. She was at $600 a week in June, $600 a week in July, and $600 a week in August. And now, September and October, she's not moved either. She has moved not 1 penny on FPUC since day one. So, where do we stand with that? Where we also stand with that is a bunch of people who don't understand that your FPUC expired in July, and neither of them want to give you FPUC for the expired month of August. They want to start it retroactive in September, as we sit here now in October. Guess what? Prediction. If we go into November with this, they'll start it retroactive to October, and they'll lose September on the payment scale as well. Stimulus check. How much stimulus check are these people giving you? Nancy Pelosi has reduced her stimulus checks as the negotiations have gone on. Steve Mnuchin has raised his stimulus checks as the negotiations have gone on, and that they have not agreed upon this. If this sounds a little strange, let me explain this. There was a point at which she was higher and he was lower. So then there was a point at which she started to become lower and he started to become higher. And at one point, they were at the exact same number. They did not agree upon that number. So then he started going higher and she started going lower. Who does that? I've never heard negotiations where the parties are apart and they meet together and then they go the other direction and then they still don't agree. I think these people are crazy. I just really think they're crazy. Nancy Pelosi initially was at $1,200 checks for minor dependents. Now she's at $500 checks for minor dependents. Steve Mnuchin was initially at $500 checks for minor dependents. Now he's at $1,200 checks for minor dependents. He's now at Nancy Pelosi's provision, and she's now at Steve Mnuchin's former provision. How about children? Children. Steve Mnuchin was formerly at $500 for children. Nancy Pelosi was formerly at $1,200 for children. Now they are reversed. She's at $500 for children. He's at $1,000 for children. It just keeps on going. I mean, how much further do I need to explain this to you? Where we go from here is that they don't have agreement on numbers. They don't have agreement on numbers that concern you. They may have agreement on, a school number and a number for the raises for some people in, very nice jobs that get 6 figures a year. But as your numbers, no, there's no agreement on your numbers. How about language? Oh, the language. French? No. Russian? Yeah, no. Don't impeach me. No agreement on any language, whether it's English, Russian, or French. Neither of these people have written anything. This part of the video is always where I just sort of lose it because I'm just like, I want to just laugh and then shout at the same time. What do you mean? You wrote a 3,000-page bill in the spring, then you wrote another 3,000-page bill. Do you need to keep on writing them from scratch? You already got 6,000 pages to use to edit and cut and paste. You have to write another 3,000-page bill? And let me see. Does it take you 4 months to write a bill? So that means we'll see this next version in, 2025? And then Nancy Pelosi overnight says we take time writing laws because we're legislators. Well, why are you negotiating with Steve Mnuchin? He's not a legislator. He doesn't write laws. He's a banker from New York. And then the blame game is really good today. Steve Mnuchin was in the White House, in the Oval Office, behind the table, that famous table, and the president was at the table. And guess what they did? First, the president said, I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. Then Steve Mnuchin said, I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. Then there was someone else in the room. Oh, who was that? Oh, yeah, that was that guy that's not very popular in the cabinet. He said, I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. They put out the window, the garden and the lawn. I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. Then there was the cameraman. I want to blame Nancy Pelosi. Everyone wanted to blame Nancy Pelosi. Then across town, Nancy Pelosi, stood up and said, it's the president's fault. And it's Mitch's fault. And children have gone hungry. And we're crushing the virus. And there will be November's rent tomorrow. Maybe November 2020's maybe 2025's rent for November will eventually arrive in your bank account. As you see here, Mnuchin versus Pelosi is becoming Mnuchin, Pelosi versus everyone else. They have not given you numbers. They have not given you deal items. They're not giving you language. They're not giving you negotiation points. They're not giving you updates of any substance. And that was where the news articles have really gone. It appears that somewhere the broadcast news reporters are watching this channel finally and realizing, wait, we have no numbers for these people. They've been negotiating numbers for 6 months. We have no numbers. What are you doing? And what they're doing apparently is much of nothing. A new news report says that Nancy Pelosi and Steve Mnuchin have really done nothing in the last 3 weeks, that their narrative that they're working really hard is untrue, that there have been staff members that have barely touched a pen. No one is really talking to each other. No one's working on anything. No one hears from anyone for days at end. People are unresponsive. People are not working. People are not in their offices. People are not communicating remotely. They're literally doing nothing. Nothing. And all they want to do is have press conferences telling you how much work they did. It's untrue. Nancy Pelosi has been lazy. Steve Mnuchin has been lazy. And ultimately, their laziness has gotten you nothing. Now, ultimately, I understand that you may be a legislator and you may have other things to do, but this thing is sort of important. And apparently, the news reports, as describe the situation, says that these people have intentionally not involved other people in the negotiations so that those other people would not tell you, yes, how lazy Nancy and Steve have been. Pelosi versus Mnuchin is actually now Pelosi and Mnuchin versus beauty rest slips, versus the beauty rest mattress, versus sit and sleep mattress, versus, a good night's sleep. Because all they're doing apparently is sleeping. They're not doing any work. It's just categorically shocking. As you sit here today, what should you be focused on? Seats for stimulus, when we talk about Steve and Nancy, pushing with Nancy Pelosi, that's like pushing a bunch of cows to the casino, tipping cows to the casino. It's just not going to happen. Seats for stimulus is what you should do. Make it very clear to her caucus you're not going to support them. They didn't give you stimulus. And executive orders. It's sad, but that is where we are today. Now, ultimately it could change, but you see why I'm recording in a different way today. I'm not recording their narratives because their narratives are untrue. Let me go with some incredible comments from you yesterday. Trevor Snell, that's exactly what they're doing. They don't care about this. They get paid 2 weeks no matter what they do, and we need to protest the whole Congress. Sandra Barker, she's been playing this game for months. What makes anyone think she would change? She cried wolf. She cried wolf so many times. You must have patience of Job. I bet you are exhausted. I appreciate so much your work. Go Purple Power. I am exhausted because I don't like being lied to. And this woman has categorically lied to us. And Steve Mnuchin has been deceptive to us. Mary Wick, people can't see these people as actually true. Nobuku Lugami, stimulus or not, voting them all out for dragging us through the mud. Linda Lloyd, let's send them all to the homeless and hungry children, to Nancy's house. Kayana, Congress has no intention of sending the American people stimulus checks in session for 45 minutes. What is that purpose? Rose Donovan, this is only fueling more anger in everyone. Andrea, they're playing games with people, vote them all out. Susan Tinsley, I'm tired of the schemes. We need stimulus now. Magorla Elmore, we don't get it. They need to vote them all out. Rebecca White, if this was not election year, none of this would have been done. First Amendment, of course they are. Smoke and mirrors. Blake Freilet, they're all on it. Everyone's on it. They're dangling the carrot until the election, period. These are comments 19 hours ago. These aren't comments to today's reports, understand. So people are already pissed, really badly pissed at Nancy and Steve. Greg Gustafson, I had thought this for a long time. No deal, no check. Nancy stringing everybody along. Still trying to play Trump look bad. It's time to do executive order, Mr. President. Leanne McCoy, no stimulus, no employment. No voting for any of these people. Need to go to the strike them. They only care about themselves. John Smith, I'm voting them all out. Please vote. Please vote for the non-incumbent. Please do not vote. Not voting is not a solution. You must vote and vote them out. Vote for the person who's running against them. Stay with me for Evenings LALATE. Big developments that are just breaking since this recording, so please stay with me. Go to Flash channel, subscribe because we're approaching a place in which we really understand where we can get over the finish line. It's just not with these two people. Also, like this video. Things could develop in a minute, and that's why you guys stay with me. So stay with Evenings LALATE coming up at 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. As always, stay informed, stay smiling, stay at LA for more.